Hello, my name is Justin Decloux, and I'm here today with
Will Sloan.
and you're listening to the Important Cinema Club. And today, we're talking about the funniest brothers around. The Ritz... Wait, I just got a telegram. Oh no, we're doing it on the Marx Brothers.
Well, that's the kind of testimony we can eliminate. That's a fine. I'll have some. You'll have what? Eliminate. An ice cold glass of lemonade.
Wow.
It's their best joke ever.
It's like they're in the room with me. Now, we did do the Marx Brothers many moons ago.
It was what, episode 3, 4?
Yes, we did put them together with Wheeler and Woosley the way it was meant to be.
Because we thought that would be funny. We would compare Duck Soup with Wheeler and Woolsey's Diplomaniacs. Mm-hmm. And we are going to get back to Wheeler and Woolsey too.
We absolutely
Because
will.
it's a sin to waste the Marx Brothers and especially Wheeler and Woolsey on one portmanteau episode.
So we're going to be talking about all those classic Marx Brothers films this weekend. Oh, wait. No, I got another telegram. In classic Important Cinema Club style, we're talking about their MGM films, which I will say could be worse.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, this is the thing we do every time. Mm-hmm. And I'm taking the blame now because this was my idea. We take perfectly good topics and we pick the worst parts of them.
Yes. We didn't pick the worst parts.
Because we think, you're right, we could have picked worse. Mm-hmm. But we think, we're going to be creative. We're going to come at it from a unique angle. Now, a little background here. What led us to this is I have become addicted to the Marx Brothers.
You're a sick man.
The Marx Brothers Council podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts. If you're the kind of person who's like, I want an hour-long deep dive into Chico Marx's daughter's memoir. Mm-hmm. This is the podcast for you. And so I've been listening to it relentlessly. And I'm an old Marx Brothers fan from way back.
Yeah, I think I said it on the previous Marx Brothers episode. The Marx Brothers were not my guys. I will say, these movies were probably the first Marx Brothers films I saw.
Because they came out on DVD.
Because they came out on DVD in a box set.
Yeah, and I had that too. And people forget, I feel like we say this all the time, but back as recently as 20 years ago, you couldn't just watch every movie by somebody.
No.
Like, I saw Duck Soup when I was 6. I saw a couple others that were at the video store. And then certain of the ones, like A Day at the Races, I didn't see until that box set came out. I didn't see At the Circus, Go West. I didn't see any of that till that box set came out. I had thought about those movies and wanted to see those movies forever until that box set came out. And I'd heard they were bad.
So I had not heard they were bad. So you can imagine me watching these and being going like, something seems off in these movies. The AFI Top 100 Laughs said that this should be some of the best movies ever, right? Right? What's going on here?
Right. So on the Marx Brothers Council podcast, having binged it lately.
So you've already listened to probably 150 hours.
A lot of it. I have had the Marx Brothers on the brain. I've also just read Harpo's wife's memoir.
Oh my God.
Speaking of Harpo, which is a fascinating book. Steve Stollier's book, Raised Eyebrows, is, one
of the greatest books of all time.
One of the greatest books of all time. The boys are on my mind. And listening to this podcast over and over again, you hear them ragging on the MGM movies. Mm-hmm. And just briefly, the Marx Brothers from 1929 to 1933 made 5 movies at Paramount. And those movies are kind of the bedrock of their fame. The Coconuts, Animal Crackers, Horse Feathers, Monkey Business, Duck Soup.
And even those, they're not all solid gold classics. So the Coconuts.
The Coconuts is hard to watch.
Even though it's directed by our favorite Robert Florey. Yeah. And by directed, I mean the camera's put down.
Okay, actually, let's go back even further. So the Marx Brothers, they were all born between 1888 or so and 1902. So those are not exact dates.
They're not triplets? I will be playing the know-nothing podcast host on this one.
You've got, not in order of birth, Groucho, Harpo, Chico, Zeppo, the non-performing Gummo.
We love Gummo!
As well as Manfred, who passed away after 3 days.
Yes.
So he's the...
Rest in peace.
The secret 6th Marx brother.
Yes.
And they were born to a lower middle class or working class Jewish family in New York, an immigrant family. Their mother, Minnie, was a absolute stage mother. She was like, you being on Broadway is going to be our ticket out of poverty, and I'm going to work you and work you and work you. And so...
Chico, you're the one with the accent.
That's right.
Groucho, you have a funny speaking voice but no accent. Harpo, I'm slitting your vocal cords.
And Zeppo, you're not funny.
No.
But you're going to be
Do
in
I
the
get to be the leading man? Not really.
Zeppo's awesome.
How is being a manager sound for you? All right.
So for 15 or 20 years in the early 20th century, they were in first burlesque, vaudeville. They worked and worked and worked. They went up and down, left and right in the country. They performed everywhere. painstakingly, they created their act, created their characters, until finally in, 1925 to 1929, they had 3 huge Broadway shows. All Say She Is, The Coconuts, and Animal Crackers. And these propelled them to Hollywood. The Coconuts and Animal Crackers are basically filmed stage plays. I like Animal Crackers a lot, actually, although it is also a little clumsy. Mm-hmm. Then they go to Hollywood. They make Monkey Business, Horse Feathers, Duck Soup.
So to be clear, when like Marx Brothers fans are talking about the classic Marx Brothers films, they're talking usually 3 movies.
Yeah.
Maybe
or
4 will slip in. A Night at the Opera will slip in.
Yeah, or like Animal Crackers has great scenes. Mm-hmm. It's a little wonky as a movie, but it's got great scenes. And Horse Feathers and Duck Soup are kind of the pinnacle of it, and we'll get into why that is. But Duck Soup is not as big a hit at the box office as they want it to be. Their contract at Paramount is not renewed. And at MGM, Irving Thalberg, the boy genius, the super producer, he's in his 20s, and he's made movies like Mutiny on the Bounty, all your favorites. Mm-hmm. He's the super
Grand
producer.
Hotel, I believe, was one of his as well.
That's right. And it's funny, I was reading Groucho's memoir, and he just lists off Irving Thalberg's movies and about what a great man he was. And I'm reading these, and I'm like, I like Duck Soup more than any of these. But anyway, Irving Thalberg says, here's your problem. I can get you twice the box office with half the laughs. The movies are too dense with humor. You need a love story. The Marx Brothers need to be working towards a goal. It can't just be anarchy.
Which is what the classics are. Like, you watch Duck Soup, and you will, unless you know it very well, forget that, like, the last 10 minutes are in a war scene.
That's
with,
right.
like, just absolute silliness.
And Duck Soup, is the pinnacle, I think, of their style. Because it is about nothing. Every time, yes, it has a plot. But
is that Leo McCarey that directed that one?
Yes, it is Leo McCarey.
So that's, I think, important as well, is that working with a great director.
And he's the best director they ever worked with.
Yeah, no contest.
And he also, I think, brought something to that movie. Like, the mirror scene is all Leo McCarey. That's the movie that philosophically, everything they're about is there.
But they couldn't, here's the thing about them. I don't think that is recreatable long term.
I think you might be right.
That when you reach that pinnacle of something like that, and that movie is like 70 minutes long too, and it's just packed with gags. Felt like, I think it would get exhausting in long form.
I read an interesting quote from Charlie Chaplin. So Chaplin knew them in vaudeville. He knew them socially in Hollywood as well. But there was a book written about him recently called Charlie Chaplin versus America that has a quote in it where apparently he didn't like their movies. And he said, I don't have the quote in front of me, but he was like, it's all anarchy. They're guys who say this is a crazy world, so we're going to be crazy. And that rubbed him the wrong way. Now you can get it. He made The Great Dictator,
he is like the antithesis of the Marx Brothers comedy style.
Yeah. So you can understand that. But what I will say is, if he's right about what they represent, where do you take that?
Yeah. So I want to talk about Young Will. Who is introducing you to the Marx Brothers? Where do you become aware of them?
I think I probably became aware of them through like Animaniacs.
Yep, they appeared in that a lot. But like, did you ask your dad? It's funny, my dad, I don't think ever spoke of the Marx Brothers.
Neither did mine.
Really?
I mean, my parents knew who they were.
Yes. I'm sure my parents knew
they
who they
probably
were.
saw some of the movies.
Yes.
But they were not important to them.
And I think that's something that also kept me from becoming a Marx Brothers fan early, never in syndication.
Oh, yeah, not on TV.
Not on TV. There's no shorts to see. Like the Three Stooges, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I can watch them shorts on Teletoon. That's what's playing.
Yeah.
Marx Brothers, I would have had to go to the video rental place and have like, I want to rent Duck Soup.
So that's what happened to me, I think.
Yeah.
Because my parents did introduce me to the Three Stooges. Mm-hmm. They introduced me to some black and white stuff. But I remember saying I want to see a Marx Brothers movie, and I rented Duck Soup, and I loved it. And I was probably 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And I was a fan for life after that.
Okay, so that's the origin story of like, that's how you... So did you try to introduce Marx Brothers to your friends? I would love to know.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
I was under no illusions. It's like showing black and white stuff to friends. But like, I did show Duck Soup to friends, and that's the easiest one to get them to watch because it's undeniable.
Yes.
It's so funny.
And the thing about like Duck Soup is that like you get, and the beautiful thing about the Marx Brothers, you get the 3 different flavors of comedy from each brother.
Absolutely.
And so they can work alone, and they can work amazingly when they're all together bouncing off each other. Question, do you think they are at their best alone, like together, all 3 of them, or with a Margaret Dumont-like character that they're bouncing off of?
That's an interesting question. And I mean, Margaret Dumont's very important.
Yes.
And it's interesting that a lot of the movies have a similar structure where it starts with Groucho and Margaret Dumont.
Who are fucking.
Yeah.
Implied off screen.
Yeah. He's a very abusive partner to her.
He's very abusive, yes.
He's constantly negging her and calling her fat.
Yep. or ugly.
Yeah.
So if people don't know, Margaret Dumont is a classic, like, oh, I never character actor.
She is the wealthy dowager.
Yes. I love that everyone who knew her is like, yeah, she's like that in real life. Like, that's how she was.
Well, they claimed that she didn't understand the jokes.
Yes.
Which I don't think is true.
I don't think it's true, no.
Probably she didn't find them funny.
I believe that, which
Yeah.
I think is why she's so funny in those movies when she's reacting to them.
And in Duck Soup especially, she is such a cartoon character of that kind of person. I mean, she's great.
Yeah.
You got Harpo, he's a silent clown. He's a dynamo. You got Chico, who's an Italian man.
Yes.
And
a con man.
he's
Well,
like,
I guess so is Groucho.
Hey, yeah, but it's a fine. I'm an Italian. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
The classic Chico line.
What is Chico's game in your eyes?
Well, I think he's great. I
Yes.
think he's the third best Marx brother.
Okay.
And I think that's indisputable. I don't think you'll find anyone who ranks him higher.
Because I think the issue with Chico is he got Groucho, who's kind of doing some of the same stuff Chico is doing.
The thing about Chico is, though, that he can undercut Groucho.
Yeah, well, Chico will always be a kind of underdog character, while Groucho will be the overdog.
That's right.
Because he is smarter than everybody else in the room.
That's right. Groucho infiltrates high society.
Yes.
And then Chico comes along to undermine Groucho.
Yep.
And because Groucho is used to dealing with saps and idiots who are hoity-toity,
Yep.
he can trick them. But Chico's street smart. And the two of them have an odd mutual respect when they're on screen together.
That's why some of people's favorite scenes are like Day at the Races, where Chico sells Groucho a tip.
Oh, the Tootsie Fritzy ice cream scene where he sells them like 10 books. That's a great scene.
Or the famous scene from A Night at the Opera where they do the contract signing.
You can't fool me. There ain't no Santa Claus.
Yep, exactly. And so in those scenes, Chico is the person in control of the scene, and you like seeing that.
Now, consistently, Harpo is the hardest one to write because...
You just write slapstick bits for him. Come on.
But how do you weave Harpo into a narrative? I mean, the best movies do, but...
He's the innocent.
There are others where he kind of seems a little shoehorned in, which is no criticism of him. It's criticism of those movies.
The bad, that you don't know how to utilize these Marx Brothers.
So anyway, they're at MGM. And actually, this is why I brought up the Marx Brothers Council podcast, because every episode after episode, these guys only made 12 or 13 movies total. You have a limited supply.
Yeah.
And it always feels like half the movies they don't even like.
Yeah. So this is classic. We've talked about this before. Old school Godzilla fan behavior.
Yes.
Where it's like, I like these 4 movies. I saw them when I was children. And then the other ones diminish Godzilla in my eyes, but I have spent my entire life talking about Godzilla.
Exactly. When we were growing up, all those Godzilla fans hated Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yes. Godzilla's Revenge. They hate it.
They hated Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla and all that stuff.
If you want the classic example of this, there's a commentary track on the original DVD release of the Godzilla films where on Godzilla's Revenge, they are so dismissive of the film that like the guy's like, I don't even want to talk about this. So I brought on some guests to like just riff about it.
And so I'm listening to this podcast and I'm thinking, I love these guys. And I've, over the course of my life, seen At the Circus 4 or 5 times because there are only so many movies. And when At the Circus is on, I'm watching it. I'm happy to be there.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of hoping to come here with a big contrarian take of like, actually,
a big contrarian
I was
take.
hoping to come lay down the gauntlet and saying, hey guys, come on, Go West is actually great.
So what's fascinating about, I think, the rankings in most Marx Brothers fans' eyes is literally the order they were produced. So like their favorites go Night at the Opera. Was that first? Or...
Yeah, of the MGM era.
Yeah, of the MGM era. Night at the Opera, Day at the Races.
And then way down.
Yeah, way down.
At the Circus.
At the Circus, Go West, The Big Store.
That's right. In that order.
That's usually the order that people like. I'm going to maybe shake it up a little bit here based on, it's tough because I don't have the Marx Brothers in my blood like you do. So like recycled bits that they do, which made just great on like fans. For me, it's all fresh. So even if they're moving at half speed, I'm laughing because I've never seen this before.
Well, so much of what people resist about these movies is the implied philosophical assault on the Marx Brothers. It's like they were pure agents of chaos, not just to the people, not just to the characters in the movie, but also to the form itself, to the idea of like, you're watching this expecting a story with cause and effect. Fuck that shit. But to the social mores of the time, everything.
But on paper, the idea of putting the Marx Brothers in serious-ish movies is not like Poison. It should not be that bad. These like agents of chaos within an ordered framework create chaos within it. The issue with these films is they keep bringing you back to normalcy, and you're like, you cannot do that after introducing chaos. We just need to go back down the chaotic route.
And it's important to remember that the Coconuts and Animal Crackers, the first two, also have romance plots
Yes.
that are terrible.
Awful. But they do not take up enough real estate.
And also, I think what I like about Animal Crackers especially is the movie is kind of so bad just in its filmmaking. In
Who directed Animal Crackers?
a guy named Victor Herman.
Yeah. As we'll go through the directors of these movies, hacks.
It's a who's who of who cares.
Like, you click on Sam Wood's filmography, and it basically just vanishes into the void, even though there's 100 movies underneath them. Some of them probably, like, best box office hits of those years.
Yeah. In Animal Crackers, I think it works kind of because, like, the movie's so cheap that it's sort of, like, form matches content.
Okay.
But with Night at the Opera and Day at the Races, these are the most expensive movies they would ever have, the biggest productions they ever had, crowd scenes, both too long, you know, got a lot of stuff. There was a school of thought amongst the Marx Brothers fans that there's a kind of, that this is a bit of a betrayal of the spirit of the Marx Brothers. And also the fact that in both of these movies, and in all of them from this point on, the Marx Brothers are basically working to help, like, two young lovers unite or something like that.
What is the title card on the big store, which is like the Marx Brothers and
Tony Martin.
Tony, finally together at last.
Yeah, and the young lovers in these movies.
Dog shit.
Let's
get into it. Yeah, maybe I'll come with a contrarian take and be like, no, are they good though?
Well, A Night at the Opera, 1935.
Now, something I think is important about the Marx Brothers and how they are interpreted in popular culture is that A Night at the Opera was very available, longer than a lot of these movies.
Yes.
And so I believe it has, and I'm not here to shit on Night at the Opera, but an overinflated position, at least 80s and 90s, of where it rested in the Marx Brothers filmography.
I do think that its status among Marx Brothers fans has declined a bit in more recent decades.
I agree. I will say, it's funny how, like, time shapes your perception. I remember the most famous scene in Night at the Opera. They all get in one room.
The stateroom scene, yeah.
So I remember this as being just like the coat room at the opera, which I realized very quickly watching this movie, they ain't spending no time at this opera. This is mostly the Marx Brothers take a boat trip.
It's a bit Jason Takes Manhattan, for
Yes.
sure. So the plot of the movie is you've got Alan Jones, who plays a aspiring opera singer. And you've got, I think Kitty Carlisle is her name. She's also an aspiring opera singer, and they're young lovers. And then there's a more established tenor, real jerk.
Who's throughout these movies, aren't there? Like
There's always a character like this who's like the jerk, and he's always beating up Harpo.
Yeah. He's always,
And Harpo's an innocent boy. He's like a puppy.
yeah, in this, it starts with him beating Harpo at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And so, like, it starts, we're at the opera. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for all these back room opera shenanigans that are going to go on over one night, as the title indicates.
Not enough opera for you?
I went in expecting controlled chaos in one location.
Okay.
What was shocking about this movie is that the movies that I watched, none of them delivered that, even though the titles basically all promise this.
That's true, and I think that is a bit of a difference from some of the Paramount movies where it's like Horse Feathers, it's at a university, and basically it's a lot of university gags.
Yeah.
Monkey Business, first 3/4 of it are on a boat, and it's all boat stuff.
And I'm not a Marx Brothers expert. Will is, getting his degree. He's not quite there yet, but he will one day. If I had to guess, it really feels like a bunch of gag writers are writing on very disparate gags that they're bringing all together for a movie.
I believe that because this movie is so episodic. And among other things, I mean, it's famous that this movie, like, they toured it before they made it, so they knew where the laughs were. They would tour scenes from A Night at the Opera all around the country. So it's very episodic. It's like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie where you can tell it was built around individual scenes.
Yeah. And that's not always bad, though.
Well, what I will say is I think Night at the Opera is the best of these by a lot. And maybe you disagree.
I'd have to really fight hard to make a contrarian opinion about that.
And that just comes down to it's got the most really funny scenes.
Yeah, it has the highest highs.
Yeah. And the lowest lows, I think compared to Day at the Races, I think the proportion isn't quite as bad.
I'm going to have a real trouble talking about these movies because I just watched them all together in 3 days or 2 days.
Yeah.
And so, like, none of the, like, unless they're at the circus, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the at the circus one.
Okay. So Night of the Opera, it's the contract scene.
Yes, great.
It's
the stateroom scene.
they're at the hotel and they're going from room to room.
I always think the stateroom scene, though, is going to have 1 or 2 more beats.
Okay.
And I think that's probably just the baggage of expectation.
It's an iconic scene.
It is, but I'm waiting for it to be like, I guess I'm picturing that scene from The Simpsons where they all get into the bomb shelter, and it's not quite there yet.
I do get that.
Yeah.
I think the last 15 minutes at the opera.
Well, that is classic Marx Brothers. Complete chaos. That's what you come to see.
And I also think that this movie, my final case for it, perhaps controversial, is that the plot basically a sense of momentum that gets you from point A to point B, which is not the case with Day at the Races. I feel like we start at the opera, we go on a boat, and then we end at the opera. And this is a sturdy structure.
There is a conflict in this movie. It's not that overbearing.
Yes.
Even though I know Will loves the scenes where Chico and the lead man talk about the lead man's...
Well, I texted Justin early on where it's like, I can't believe it. Chico is like consoling Alan Jones about his love story. What have they done to Chico?
He's off. This is not Chico. It's a pale imitation. Chico does his Chico bits in this.
Yeah.
The Marx Brothers are throughout. Like, yeah, I think that if you were going to recommend any one of these MGM ones, this is... you would point Tonight at the Opera. 91 minutes as well. Consider this when we talk about the next one, A Day at the Races.
So this one disappointed me a little bit on this viewing.
I could not believe when this started. I thought there was a mistake when I looked down and I saw 109 minutes long.
Yeah.
What the hell? Sam Wood directed this one as well, right?
Sam Wood, who, by the way, Sam Wood is an MGM hack.
Yeah.
He made Goodbye, Mr. Chips. He made Pride of the Yankees.
What is the classic Groucho bit?
The classic joke, and I don't even know if this is true, but it's gone down in history, is that he was directing Groucho in a scene and he was asking for take after take, and he was like, well, I guess you just can't make an actor out of clay. And Groucho said, or a director out of wood.
Great joke.
I hope that's true. It feels a little reverse engineered, but...
Yeah. So Day at the Races, number one. And this is like a nitpick. Any Groucho Marx fan is going to be like, how is this your complaint? They don't spend any time at the races. They spend some time. Very few.
Well, so much of it takes place at the sanitarium.
Yeah, it should be like, the Marx Brothers are locked up.
Okay, I'll tell you the first wrong move that this movie makes, which I like this movie, but the first wrong move that it makes is he plays, what's his character in this? Hackenbush, Dr. Hackenbush.
Yes.
Margaret Dumont's like, you must get the legendary Dr. Hackenbush. And then it cuts to Hackenbush, Groucho, and he's a horse doctor. And in all the other movies, it's, he's the African explorer, he's the college professor, he's the great dictator. He comes in and you don't know anything about his background.
So you want him just to be kind of a cipher agent. So you just want him as Groucho.
Yeah, and like it's sort of implied that maybe he's a fraud, but maybe not. And in this one, it's like, it's established in the scene 2
that he's a fraud.
This guy's a fraud.
But you don't think there's comedic tension there in the things that he does?
I think they build it, but I do think that this is indicative of the new spirit of these movies compared to the Paramount ones.
And Harpo is being beaten, as he usually is.
Well, the template of this movie is just like so taken from Night at the Opera.
Yeah.
Like the first third of it in particular, it's like you could just line up the scenes. Like
Isn't Alan Jones in this one too?
Yeah, he is.
I love the idea of them being like, listen, we don't want to screw with the formula. Give me Wood, give me Alan Jones.
Yeah.
These are the things that make the Marx Brothers a success.
Yeah, and plot is, he's a horse doctor who's been hired as a real doctor, and he's kind of a fraud.
I mean, this has classic bits in it. The whole like medical checkup scene, washing the hands.
Okay, so this movie, as you said, it's like 110 minutes, and it's got like 50 of those minutes are great.
I think the climax is really good. The horse race.
Yeah, there are a lot of individual comedy scenes.
Yeah.
Are fantastic. I don't feel the same sense of momentum. Some of the musical scenes in this movie are death.
Yes. Oh, wow. I'd love to see all these African-American performers doing a great musical scene. I hope it won't end with, oh, yeah, it does, eh?
So that's rough. Also, the whole scene in the middle at the fountain.
Awful. That
horrible.
Feels like, those Santos movies where they're like sitting and they're watching footage from another movie? That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, and I mean, it's bad enough that we have the harp solos. Okay,
wait. Oh, yeah. Where do you stand on the Chico piano solos, then followed by Harpo harp solos?
Okay. Bit controversial.
Don't let the Marx Brothers Council podcast hear this.
Bit controversial. I like the piano. I don't like the harp.
Wow, really? Is it just like the virtuosity of playing the piano is more interesting than playing the harp?
Yeah, I think I like the
maybe
shtick.
You're just a Philistine that don't understand.
I like the shtick that Chico does with his fingers and his face.
Well, because there is a funny contrast at how skilled he is at playing the piano, and he's shot in wide shot. You see his hands, you see his face, and how like jokey and the persona of Chico that you know.
And, you know, in multiple of these movies, it starts with like Harpo will start playing the piano, and he's good too.
Yeah.
He's good at the piano.
Do they ever do a duet? Like, or both of them at one?
In the big store, there's a duet that they do.
But usually they're separated.
That's right.
And
it's one after another.
Why is it like that? Like, why are the two of them back to back?
So if you need to go to the bathroom, you
yeah,
can just,
I guess.
Yeah.
It's like Bollywood films where it's like, we put this part, you know, if you need to go get some food or something like
But
that.
I just feel like, compared to Night at the Opera, Day at the Races feels just a little bit baggy.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like
languorous.
It's like great pieces of chocolate in a huge empty box.
I mean, we're moving on though. We have more of this in the future.
So crucially, halfway through the production of Day at the Races, Irving Thalberg died.
You know what? I think this is a very important thing. I don't think it was Irving Thalberg. If he had lived to the end of production Day at the Races, it would not be 109 minutes. There's no way.
Probably not. Now, crucially, he was the Marx Brothers' great defender at MGM. He believed strongly in them. I read, by the way, that Day at the Races was like one of the top 10 movies of that year. It was a huge hit, but it also lost money because it cost so much to make.
Wow, really?
It somehow lost $500,000. So the ones they made after this, they made Room Service for RKO, which we did not watch for this.
No, not an MGM film.
And then they signed a 3-picture deal with MGM because Chico needed the money.
Yes.
And
Chico needed the money.
And what's also important to remember is, they did vaudeville and Broadway. They had worked together for so long.
Now, why did Chico need the money?
Because he was
a gambler?
An incessant gambler, a gambling addict.
Yeah.
The other two invested their money well. We didn't even mention Zeppo. He's
managing something.
Forget about Zeppo.
Yeah. I mean, not Will, who has multiple books on Zeppo, I assume.
I love Zeppo.
Is there a biography on Gumbo? I'm sure there is, right?
I wonder. Yeah, there is. Gummo's son wrote a book.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, of course. I'm sure there's a Marx Brothers Council episode about that.
Yeah.
Or there will be eventually.
Yeah. So they signed a 3-picture deal, and these 3 movies, you can instantly tell they're less slick. They have less talent behind them than...
They don't have the wood touch?
And also, like, the Marx Brothers are a little tired because even after Duck Soup, like, Groucho kind of wanted to move on. And he was reignited by, Irving Thalberg wants to work with us. He wants to give us these big productions. But Groucho was tired of performing this act. Groucho wanted to be like S.J. Perlman or Robert Benchley. He wanted to be a great wit. He was tired of...
Well, and he did. Later on in his life, yeah.
But he was tired of putting on the grease paint mustache and doing, like, shenanigans.
Wait, that's grease paint? Well, I got to watch it more closely.
Yeah.
And so...
It's weird watching these movies in Blu-ray now because
you can really see.
Back in the day, they would watch these movies on, like, fuzzy TVs. Yeah.
I mean, most kids probably didn't even know it was a grease paint mustache for,
years.
Yeah. So, because, like, when you buy the Groucho glasses, it comes with a furry mustache.
That's right.
Lies is what I say. So what follows A Day at the Races?
So there's At the Circus, there's Go West, there's The Big Store.
Okay. I hate it at the circus. Like,
Whoa.
watching it. You know what? The songs in this are death. They're really bad. I sent a message to Will being like, shut up.
2 blind loves.
And for
Two blind loves.
a film called At the Circus, very little circus content.
And yet still too much because the idea, and you can imagine, so taking over as producer is Mervyn LeRoy, who was a
Director, isn't he?
Yeah, he made I Am a Fugitive from the Chain Gang.
Yeah.
And so he took over as producer, not a funny man. And,
No.
he was like, the Marx Brothers, they belong in a circus. So that's mistake number 1.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, they belong at the opera. But causing shenanigans.
Yeah, so you want them more in the upper crust echelon.
It's redundant to have them at a circus.
Yes, but I can see like classic, Charlie Chaplin, Three Stooges. There are circuses all the time. Why can't the Marx Brothers be there? But instead you get like bits of like Groucho on the ceiling.
That's terrible, that scene.
Awful. It's just bad.
So there are some okay scenes in this.
Yeah.
Like the scene where they're in the little person's home with the cigars.
That's fun. And isn't it Groucho trying to figure out who stole the cigars?
Yeah,
And it's Chico, and Chico keeps giving him cigars.
That's funny.
That's funny.
I like the scene when he's trying to get on the train and Chico is like, "Oh, you don't have the badge."
Yep.
That's funny.
That starts the movie right away.
But throughout, the young lovers are horrible in this. And I just feel like the general quality of laugh is not there.
No. I don't think it is there. I think you can feel Groucho being like, all right, I'll do my shtick, but like within limits.
The difference between this and something like Duck Soup is the difference between like going through the motions and being really inspired. I think the brothers are all very professional here.
Yeah. I would say Go West. I readied myself for like people hate this movie on the Marx Brothers Council podcast. They're always like, I've seen it once. I haven't seen it since then. A lot of funny bits in this. The climax was the train. Funny stuff.
Go West has at least 2 great scenes.
Yeah.
The train and them at the hotel at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff, even these Virgin Marx Brothers eyes. I'm like, oh, it's just a bit they did like 2 movies ago with like the money when they're trying to get a train ticket.
Well, I will say that before this week, I'd never watched this many Marx Brothers movies in close proximity.
Yes.
And like watching them all so close together, by the time I got to the big store, I was kind of like, Margaret Dumont again? And this is maybe a bit of a problem for their longer term like longevity, because it's like, how many times can you do the same few setups?
Which is funny because you're like, you know, they have to need that anarchic kind of magic to them, but at the same time, you need to change a little bit. And it's like, the Marx Brothers probably like, what do you want from us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for the first 5 movies, you know, every movie feels
like new and fresh. And the other thing is, like, they're vaudeville performers. Like any of the big famous comedians, like Abbott and Costello, they do the same bits every night. So they have no shame redoing it in movies.
Absolutely.
Unlike people that made sure it was fresh every day and they never repeated stuff like the Three Stooges.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, how many Three Stooges shorts do you think you've ever watched, like, in one go?
I don't know, but
Like,
it was a lot for sure.
Because, like, when are you like, all right, that's enough? And you have to-
Honestly, probably like 8 or 9.
8 or 9
would be as long as
That's only like 100,
I don't think
100
I don't
2
think I've
hours.
ever spent like a whole day watching
No.
the Stooges.
Like a Stooge marathon. Could any theater in town do that? Just like
24 hours.
But no, that's too much. You would die. But like 12 hours of Stooges.
Oh man.
And it's a marathon. It's pay to leave.
And they definitely had fewer things that they did.
That's the thing. Yeah. They had much fewer things. But maybe it's just like the physicality of it. It feels fresher than it is like verbal tics or bits or sketches. Go West. Oh, wait, I can't wait for a Western parody. Nah, you're not going to get much of that.
It's just a little flat in the middle. I mean, I kind of like this movie too, though.
And I will say something beautiful about these movies as they go along. They get shorter and shorter and shorter.
Well, so The Big Store has an absolutely toxic reputation, and this was announced as their last movie.
Oh, wow, really?
It was the third of the 3-picture deal. Groucho was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So there's a whole trailer. The trailer's worth watching where it's them saying, yep, we're packing it in. It's our last movie. And this one, I think, also has some high highs and some low lows.
How do you feel about the more emphasis on like very wacky sped up slapstick in these movies? Because that's not really what you go to the Marx Brothers for, right?
No, and in particular in The Big Store, which, the premise of this one is it's a big department store.
I will say they're in that big store the entire time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. The whole slapstick climax of it, I think, is kind of funny in a mechanical way.
Yes.
It's like they're on roller skates, they're going
But it's
around.
not the Marx Brothers,
It's
right?
their stunt doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I even like them as the idea as comedic characters.
Yeah.
This is not what you go to them for.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, the climax of Duck Soup is very much like in tune with their philosophy while also having a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. You can do slapstick stuff, but it's like when you watch a big store, it feels off.
Yeah.
In the way that it's presented.
There are some scenes I think that are really not funny in The Big Store.
Great musical number though.
Sing while you sell. I love that.
Well, and I mean, you have heaven, you also have hell in this movie too.
Okay, so of all the like bad musical numbers in these movies, nothing is worse than Tenement Symphony. They're the sounds of the ghetto. It's this huge orchestral thing that Tony Martin sings about like
Of the Marx Brothers and Tony Martin fame.
yeah, Tony Martin sings it about like poor people who live in tenements in the city.
In the ghetto, like Elvis would.
Yeah, basically. And it is so sappy, so maudlin. Like the politics of it are kind of shit, and yeah, just painful.
But this movie, very short.
And that's what you like at this point.
Yeah, this is what I like. There was a lot of slapstick in it. So when I was watching it, I thought it was fine. Like I wouldn't watch it again. But
I would watch it again.
because of its toxic reputation, and like I don't even think this has a Blu-ray release of it.
No.
Like, that's how like dismissed it is. Was it on that DVD set? I think it
was.
Yeah, I had smiles on my face. I didn't have belly laughs or anything.
So like what I would say, you know, having you watching these movies for the first time, do you
most of them not for the first time that I've seen. I
Okay.
saw them when I got the box set back in the day.
do you coast along through these kind of just on the like, well, I like Groucho, I like Harpo,
Yeah.
like because that's how I feel about them too. It's like I think I like these guys.
Yeah.
I like seeing them. They're all like consistently funny enough.
Yeah. I would even say though, like the big comedic segment. So like the stateroom sequence, the contract, it doesn't make me laugh out loud because they have been so ingrained in me that I'm like, oh, it's this bit.
Right.
Like, there's no surprises there for me.
But when you watch Duck Soup or Horse Feathers,
I'm laughing.
You're laughing at
There's so
those.
much. There's so much like chaos and energy. Like, just think of the opening of Duck Soup. Big parade. You know how you said how these were the biggest budgets? When I think of like lavishness, the idea of like this big, huge. Is it a musical number at the beginning of Duck Soup?
Yeah, there
and
is,
then
yeah.
Groucho kind of like wanders in.
Yeah,
and then
that's
creates
funny.
this chaos. That is the ultimate Marx Brothers form.
Or I think of in Horse Feathers, it starts with like they're about to introduce, the new dean, Groucho. Camera goes over, he's like shaving. And then he comes over and says, "Boy, I thought my razor was dull until I heard that speech," which reminds me of a story. So dirty, I'm ashamed to even think of it. Like,
great. That's like 3 gags back to back to back.
Who would start a movie like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Just undercutting the movie right there. Or like actually in Duck Soup, Margaret Dumont introduces Groucho after he's wandered onto the set, and he's flipping a deck of cards, and he says, "Never mind that, take a card." She takes it and says, "What should I do with it?" He says, "Keep it. I got 52 left."
Great gag.
That's great.
But there is like some of that verbal
51 left. I apologize.
There's that verbal. Maybe you had 53 cards. As a joke, you had one extra one. There's some verbal wordplay, and even like the big store, like Groucho, he could do it.
In the big store, I come back to that dance number, "Sing While You Sell."
Yeah.
And when Groucho's dancing in it,
You like it?
I like it. It's fun. I like him. He has it. And maybe he's not happy to be there, but he's bringing it.
Like he has that musical number, and is it in Go West that Lydia that he sings?
At the circus.
At the circus, yeah.
Lydia, that encyclopedia.
Yeah.
He's great in that. And when he dances,
Now, I was shocked to learn, I hate to put you on the spot here, Will. There's some Groucho movies you haven't seen. Like you were talking about a late period Marx Brothers one.
I have not seen The Story of Mankind.
How?
So after the troupe disbanded after the big store, Harpo more or less retired. I mean, he performed periodically.
I've done everything I need to do on this earth.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, he still performed occasionally. Groucho spent all the 1940s trying to figure out a radio vehicle for him. And then by the end of the decade, he got the game show, To Bet Your Life.
Yeah.
Or You Bet Your Life. And then Chico gambled away all his money.
Yes.
So periodically, the Marx Brothers would have to reunite as a charity venture for Chico.
Yeah.
So in 45, they make A Night in Casablanca. At the end of the decade, they make Love Happy, which is supposed to be a Harpo Marx movie. But the producers say, we want the other two Marx Brothers in here. And so they come in. And then finally, in the 50s, The Story of Mankind by Irwin Allen, okay? Later of The Towering Inferno and Earthquake and all those movies. All-star historical spectacle. By all accounts, horrible. The Marx Brothers are in it in separate scenes.
Right. So they're not the star of the movie.
No, they're just...
Yeah, they're just in the...
Harpo plays Isaac Newton.
Okay.
And I don't know who the other two play.
Yeah.
But they're in... none of them are together.
I'm almost more surprised you haven't seen it. Because like the weird like train wreck.
Patreon episode?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's probably
don't want
2.5
to.
hours
Yeah.
long, right?
Yeah.
Irwin Allen.
Irwin Allen. Yeah.
Did he direct? I thought he just produced.
I think he directed The Story of Mankind.
Okay, because he did like Towering Inferno and what are his other ones? Did he do The Swarm as one
the
of his?
Poseidon Adventure.
Poseidon Adventure. Yep.
Yeah.
Earthquake? Was that an Irwin Allen?
That was Irwin Allen, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an Irwin Allen episode in it. God, what a slog that'll be. Yeah. At least we'll see a bunch of like celebrities pop up.
So my final thing that I would say about these Marx Brothers at MGM movies is I will continue watching them for the rest of my life because they only made so many movies. Yeah. And, if Groucho's on screen, I'm happy.
Now, have you ever like gone to the YouTube rabbit hole of like, maybe I'll watch some episodes of Bet Your Life?
I've seen many episodes of You Bet Your Life.
Oh, yeah, you have?
Yeah.
Is it something you go to regularly though? Like
not regularly,
No,
but
okay.
sometimes. And look,
Groucho is old.
it's not that funny.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
It's funny enough. And it's like it's pretty old.
Yes,
it
is.
It's like yesterday's wisecracks are today's, I don't know, fill in your metaphor. Mind you, Duck Soup is much older and it's still funny.
Still funny, yeah. You Bet Your Life is us still doing this podcast 10 years, 5 years from now.
You want to hear a joke that they cut out of an episode of You Bet Your Life, and this is a legendary censored joke. They had on a guest. It was a woman who had 12 kids, and he says, 12 kids? Why would you have 12 kids? And she says, well, I think it's my duty as a woman, and also I love my husband. And he says, I love my cigar, but I take it out every once in a while.
That's a great joke.
Yeah, that's good.
So, as per usual, you can send us
I'll
letters.
be here all week doing Groucho.
Have you ever dressed up as Groucho?
No, I never.
It feels
have.
like something that I think you would
This
would have
Halloween,
a good Groucho.
let's do it.
With 2 Grouchos.
You and me.
All right, so the first letter is from Evelyn
And where can they write us?
at importantcinemaclubpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, and wait, before we get to letters, I just want to say.
Yeah.
At the Fox Theater
On July 15th.
July 15th. At 7 p.m., we are showing the next installment of Important Cinema Club Masterpiece Classics. We're showing Detour by Edgar G. Ulmer. Film noir classic, our favorite director. Maybe not individually, but collectively
our favorite director.
Our favorite director, Edgar G. Ulmer. We're showing it in a theater. Detour has rarely played in the city of Toronto since it came out. Come on out, beautiful new restoration, and we will be showing an Edgar G. Ulmer short film as well.
Nice. So our first letter is from Evelyn. I keep saying it because I'm very excited to read this letter, which I got 5 minutes before we started recording. I've been greatly enjoying the Important Cinema Club podcast. I especially appreciate how the podcast in general, and especially episode 387, highlights a history of Toronto's film culture. Will we ever get to a point where people are just naming things by episode number and like people will know instantly, yes, 387.
I mean, if I don't know, then why would anybody else? But that's one of my favorite episodes where we talk about the Toronto film people who made us.
As a Torontonian, I found it surreal and beautiful to find the film-going culture that I participated in while growing up memorialized as if it was and is Paris in the 50s. I've since moved to Greater Boston, and I adore the film culture here too, but thanks for giving me a chance to visit places like the Royal, the Review, and Bay Street Video through your show. I wanted to write in particular because, in Will's case, I might be your earliest fan.
Whoa, okay.
I grew up as a film buff in Etobicoke, about 4 years behind Will. When Will was in late high school and I was 13, he had a column in the local community paper.
I can't believe this.
The Etobicoke Guardian.
Yes, I did.
I enjoyed these columns so much that I clipped them out of the paper and eagerly anticipated the new issue. I believe I still have the yellow clipping. I bet you don't even have these articles that you wrote, do you?
I do. They're in storage.
Okay. You took photos of them and then burned them so you could have them. I remember one article in which you played, oh my God, I can't believe you did this bit back then. You played Roger Ebert and gave us your top 10 films of 2006. Now, were you pretending to be Roger Ebert?
No, I was not pretending to be Roger Ebert. I was just giving the movies that I liked, yeah.
I was most struck by the variety of your choices, such as your inclusion of one film, the Bollywood movie Doom 2, that I would have never read about in the Globe and Mail. Or even Now Magazine. Rest in peace, Now Mag. Hey, we didn't talk about Now Magazine when we were talking about the Torontonian film scene.
That's right. I mean, I read Now Magazine every week. You know, what can I say?
That such a genre film could be important cinema struck me as exactly right, but I needed to read it in my local paper to learn about it myself. Thanks for expanding my horizons, then and now, Evelyn.
Well, that's delightful. I have a fan of my Etobicoke Guardian column writing. Thank you.
What was the Etobicoke Guardian? It was just like...
It's a community newspaper that you got in your mailbox.
Oh, because you've talked about writing for the high school newspaper.
That's right, but that is true. I had a column in the Etobicoke Guardian, which felt like a very big deal to me at the time.
And how much were you being paid for this article?
$25 each.
That's probably what people get paid online now. And back then, $25, that was like $500.
Oh, but no, actually, you know, I'm delighted. I wish I could tell my younger self that because you don't...
You're just screaming in a vacuum.
Exactly, yeah.
As opposed to now where you scream what seemed like a vacuum and then the vacuum screams back at you.
That does happen sometimes.
Well, that's wild. I'm sure, you probably never thought anyone was reading anything that you were writing at that time.
I mean, I knew that, like, people at my school knew that I had a column.
They're not reading that.
Yeah, but it's just like, you know, you get the Guardian in your mailbox. I definitely didn't think anybody would remember it.
And clipping the articles, too, and putting them in a book.
That's impressive to me. So thank you. Sincerely, that delights me.
So wait, what were some articles that you were clipping at that time? Because you talked about this. You were an article clipper, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I used to like to clip, it's so lame.
Who were your favorite critics?
I mean, I like to clip newspaper ads of movies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that
everybody
makes sense.
did that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I liked, I actually had a little binder of like DVD reviews because I had a DVD player and I was so obsessed with DVDs.
I guess, just the normal newspapers would be writing DVD reviews at that time.
Entertainment Weekly as well had the reviews, which I subscribed to.
Well, thank you again, Evelyn. That delighted both me and Will. And he'll be talking about it. He's going to get home. He's going to be like, Dancy. you won't believe what just happened. Our next letter is from Cameron. And he goes, hello, I'm a film student from Vancouver who discovered you through your Guy Madden episode. Thank you greatly.
That's an old one.
Thank you very much for your continued championing of Canadian cinema. I hope your good friend Guy Madden hasn't heard that episode, Will.
I think we were nice to him.
We were very nice, yeah. But I'm sure we said some stuff that he's like, how could you, Will?
Well, I mean, definitely like when we were doing our first few episodes, the idea that anybody would hear them is it was insanity.
Yes. I would love to hear you guys reflect on the current state of Canadian cinema. In the last 2 years, we've managed to have some moderate success in both genre fare, In a Violent Nature, Skinamarink, and pure Canadian indie, Blackberry Universal Language. At least here in Vancouver, it seems people have grown tired of being an auxiliary to the U.S. considering our current relationship. Well, I can speak to In a Violent Nature. deep jealousy because literally every one of my friends worked on that film except for me.
Well,
Yeah. I'm very happy they were very successful because I know it was a nightmarish production, and that they have the success that they have is wild.
yeah, no, that's fantastic. But I mean, In a Violent Nature, I don't know if that's a harbinger for anything in particular. That feels like a bit of a one-off success. Like that could have. I mean,
Chris Nash and Peter. I know Peter Kapowski listens to this podcast.
well, no disrespect to them.
Yes.
It's like it's great for them, but it's like I don't think that speaks to
need
Canada.
you need to start like. Does it start a wave of some kind? Or
Right.
Like
Right. Like that I don't think that's representative of Canada per se.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be a harbinger of other Canadian films, but I do think that like distributors are always on the lookout for like good independent horror movies that can become like that.
Yeah.
And they can come from anywhere.
I wonder, like, can there be waves like that anymore? Like, you think of like the slasher wave in Canada that kind of came out of like CanCon and then extended on its own.
Yeah, well, I think what concerns me about about Canadian cinema right now is I feel like Canadian content regulations, which were so important,
Are slackening. Yeah.
Yeah, they were so important for like creating Canadian content, basically. Like Netflix doesn't have any of that.
No, they very specifically made sure that doesn't happen for them.
Right.
But they'll take tax breaks.
So like we grew up seeing, the mandated whatever percent of Canadian TV, and now I think it feels like that's fading away.
What are kids going to be like if they're not force-fed goddamn Bizarre every day on television?
Bizarre, Red Green,
Yep.
Open Mic with Mike Bullard. What a golden age it was.
Howie Mandel talk show. But yes, I agree with you. Like, you very rarely hear, in the same way that like Quebec has its new wave, all the directors are coming up out of there. There was a Toronto new wave as well. All those filmmakers were making their 2 to 3 films before then being forced on television because that's the only way they can make any money.
Yeah.
I would like this to be kind of like a reckoning with it. But I even think like In a Violent Nature, I don't think people think of that as a Canadian film.
No, I don't think they do.
Or even Skinamarink either.
No.
And I think that's different from, I think, the earlier waves of when that was happening.
I mean, what's really happening, do you remember that commercial it used to play before movies like 2 years ago that Christopher Plummer narrated? Okay,
I'm sure I've seen it.
It was a PSA where he kept listing things like, oh, and Deadpool was shot in Vancouver,
Yes.
and A Handmaid's Tale was shot in Waterloo, and this is Canadian content, and it's time we took credit for it. And I'm listening to that, and it's like, well, no, it's not Canadian. Like,
It's not just because they
sorry.
shot. I
Like,
mean,
not really.
But like, they could make the argument they employ tons of people.
So yeah, this is kind of what I'm getting to. It's like so many Netflix shows are shot here, so we're not beating the 51st State allegations.
No.
So I felt like that Christopher Plummer commercial was a bad harbinger of how we self-conceptualize.
Well, I think it's because the people in charge want the acclaim that these American productions will bring. And so if you can finagle it by having enough creative people that equal points that then qualify it as Canadian content, then you're good.
Yeah.
And like, that's all you want. The idea of building stuff up from the ground up is almost impossible. Like In a Violent Nature and Skinamarink, those are basically independent productions. Like, I know that In a Violent Nature was a Shudder production and more money was put in independently from Canadians, but that's basically what it was, done independently. There is no system or governing body that allows more of these films to continue to grow. And I don't want to be like cynical, like, then we shouldn't try. You should try. You should do this. But it's very, very difficult. And unfortunately, I don't think, like, even Blackberry as well, like, do people think of that as a Canadian film, even though it's Canadian through and through?
I wonder.
And Universal Language, I feel that's one. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen the director's first film. Have you seen Universal Language? Matthew Rankin?
Not yet. I want to.
Yeah, people love it. Did that one have a big like international?
I think it did get released in America, but these examples, these breakout successes, they kind of feel like it feels like business as usual to me because like
there's always one or two that break
Yeah.
out, right? So me and Will, we will be the ones to champion. No, we will not do that. We can't. But if good Canadian films come along, I actually genuinely miss when I worked at the Canadian Screen Awards. I would get all the screeners, and I saw so many great Canadian films that have just disappeared or barely got released.
Real Gangsters,
Yep.
Sicilian Vampire,
Love it.
No Deposit, The Red Maple Leaf,
The Last Shot? Is that his hockey
The
one?
Last Big Save, it was
The
called.
Last Big Save. So I'm always on the lookout for a new wave of Canadian stuff, and I'm always happy when Canadian productions can break out as well. The letter writer also recommends, can we do episodes on Mamoru Oshii? Will doesn't know who this is, director of Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, well, yes, I do.
Did a lot of
I know
animated
who
films.
He is.
Did a lot of very almost like Godardian, kind of like meta, or maybe I'd say Brechtian, live action films as well. And as an old man, this is where Will would get into it. So this is a guy, top of the world, doing the best animation ever, philosophical. People love him. he gets obsessed later on in his career with making like no budget action movies with like young women stars.
That's great.
Like, I think one of the last movies he made is just like a shot on what looks like mini DV, like vampire comedy. And you're like, you went from this to this?
That's fantastic.
Yep. So that's why there would be a lot of... If we did Mamoru Oshii, I think we wouldn't do any of his animated work. We'd probably do his live action stuff because that's like an easy break. And he also recommends Hideaki Anno's live action work. Well, we're doing Neon Genesis Evangelion slowly on the Patreon.
That's
so
right.
You can hear us talk about it
In the next week or two, we'll have another episode on that.
And also Nobuhiko Obayashi, the director of Hausu.
Oh, sure.
People love that guy.
And has he made a second film?
Oh, how dare you, Will.
Sorry, no.
No, people, don't write the emails. Don't write the emails.
No. I know he has, is the thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just, like Hausu got so overexposed for a while, and I kept wondering, like, why is nobody talking about the other stuff he's made?
Everyone is talking about the other stuff.
They are?
Yeah,
okay,
to the point that
don't write in, okay?
I'm tired of hearing it. People have recommended him dozens of times in these emails.
I apologize. We'll do him.
Yes. Will is self-flagellating himself. Wait, is that what it is?
Yeah, self-flagellating.
Yes.
I'm too busy watching the big store
For the seventh time.
Yeah.
So very good recommendations. They are all on the list. So, again, you can send us emails at importantcinemaclubpodcast@gmail.com. What are we doing on our Patreon this week?
On our Patreon this week, we are talking about Paul W.S. Anderson's 1995 masterpiece, Mortal Kombat.
And this is an episode in, two extremes, in that we both experienced the movie in different ways.
Justin saw it with a very rowdy audience.
Yep.
I saw it home alone.
Yes.
And we're gonna
no one can see me doing the Home Alone face.
and we're gonna talk about those two experiences, and we're gonna try to come to some kind of understanding.
So you can check that out at patreon.com/theimportantcinemaclub.
And again, come to Toronto, July 15th. We're showing Detour. Yeah. So next week, what are we doing?
Next week, we are talking about one of the great action choreographers of all time. He is a guy that kind of set a template for what wire work would be. And almost nobody in English language circles, even if you love martial arts films, probably don't know who he is.
But he worked with all the greats.
Yes, well, he was known as a guy that in the early period, Lau Kar Leung, it was always him and Lau Kar Leung. We've done an episode on Lau Kar Leung. Now we're doing an episode on Tong Gai. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. I always want, is it Tong Gai? Is it Tong Kai? He sadly recently passed away. He has an interesting career, and I think he doesn't get talked about that much because after the Shaw Brothers in the early 80s, he were basically retired. He worked in television. He moved to Canada for a while. Then he moved back to Hong Kong. Didn't really work in TV or movies. He has one credit on a 90s True Hark movie, but that really feels like a pity. I just want to have him on set credit on Green Snake. But we'll be doing some of the movies that he directed. So we'll be talking about Opium and the Kung Fu Master. We'll be doing a Chor Young film as well, probably Killer Clans. And there's another one in there. I just think that it's an interesting creative figure to kind of focus in on because he rarely gets talked about, even though that he was so important in the development of what we think of as flying swordsmen, wacky weapons in Hong Kong cinema and beyond.
And do you like the Shaw Brothers?
Yeah, I like the Shaw Brothers.
So we're talking about the Shaw Brothers.
So you can check that out next week. And until then, my name's Justin Decloux.
I'm Will Sloan.
Thanks for listening. As per usual, I would like to thank some of our new patrons who include Senior Jeffe, Benjamin Noble, Thomas Ron, Akio Forsyth, Dylan Waite, Sean White, Matthew Giafino, Kieran Casey, Shavansh Rahman, Roan Lynch, Doodles2112, Mark Ricky, and Christian Thorby. Thank you very much for becoming patrons. We could not keep doing this without you.
So on your recommendation, Justin...
I'm glad you're talking about this because I was going to bring it up.
I listened to a podcast that I'd never heard of before called Hey, That's Me, a commentary podcast. Mm-hmm. What they do is they get actors to record a commentary track, just like you'd hear on a DVD, about one of their movies and TV shows.
Yeah, but people who often wouldn't do commentaries. For example, they did the new Predator movie that recently came out with the guy who played the Predator. They've done like stuff with costume designers. They did one famous show with the casting agent, and she explained like what the process for that was.
And if I can just digress for a second, it's so funny that like 20 years ago, DVDs were so popular that people like Martin Scorsese and Robert Altman
We're like forced at gunpoint to do commentary tracks.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It was unimaginable for like probably 5 years that there isn't a commentary on a DVD. The only one who never did one, Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg and also Woody Allen never did one.
Spielberg has said, I just refuse.
Also, Tarantino never did commentaries. He did Hot Fuzz.
He did True Romance, which he wrote.
Okay, but never one for one of the ones he directed.
None of the ones he directed, no.
Yeah. And Woody Allen famously never allowed extras. He didn't allow documentaries, interviews.
I don't want you speaking to any of the cast members for no particular reason.
Yeah. So anyway, on this podcast.
Yeah, okay. So something pops up and I'm like, all right, well, I need to send this to Will. I don't even think I started listening to it. I just sent it to you right away.
It's Batman from 1989, the Tim Burton Batman, commentary by Robert Wool.
All right. Who is Robert Wool for people who don't know?
Oh, wow. Everyone knows Robert Wool.
Everyone, yeah.
Well,
don't you love his multiple season sitcom? Arliss.
He is the fourth lead in Batman.
Yes.
It goes Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, Robert Wool.
So Arliss, if you had to take a guess when it started and when it ended.
I know Arliss had something like, so Arliss was the big HBO show before any of the ones you like. Before Sex and the City, before The Sopranos, Arliss was HBO's flagship show. And he was a sports promoter.
Yep.
And
when do you think it started?
1990. And I'm going to say it went to 1999.
1996 to 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
So long.
Good for Robert.
And nobody remembers Arliss.
No, nobody remembers
Which is too
Arliss.
bad.
I've
never seen it.
Maybe it's great.
It might be great. So yeah, Robert Wool doing a commentary for Batman. So you sent this to me. Of course, I smashed play on it. I really enjoyed it.
Wait, Robert Wool is in Saturday Night? Who does he play in that?
He plays Dave Wilson, the director.
Ah, okay. Yes.
So did you listen to Robert Wool's Batman commentary?
Of course I did. I listened to it that night, and I was sending you like choice cuts as it was happening.
Yeah. So, and I did the same with you. I was sending bits that I liked.
There is a danger here of like, well, they have nothing to say. This was so long ago.
And I do think about halfway through,
he kind of loses a little bit of energy.
Yeah.
But the great part is, Robert Wool is angry that he wasn't included in Batman Returns.
Okay, yes. I'm glad you noticed this too.
Yes.
Yeah, it keeps kind of coming up over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like
at the beginning in the intro, I don't know if you listened to it, but they even mention that like at one point he brings up that like, yeah, the Batman movies just get worse after that first one. And the guy's like, I didn't really want to argue with him, so I just let it go.
Well, at one point Robert Wool says if you took the first 4 Batman movies and you played them one after another, each hour would get a little worse than the last hour.
I disagree, but yes.
I disagree, although, I can see the logical world where he would come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
I happen to disagree. but yeah, you can tell a couple times he keeps making a couple just a little pointed comments about Batman Returns.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Why would they bring him back?
Why would they bring him back? Like, Michael Keaton is barely in Batman Returns. There's no place unless he came back and like the Penguin killed him. That would have ruled.
Well, did you know that the first draft of
he dies.
Of Daniel Waters' screenplay opens with Robert Wool
crucified on the bat signal.
And he wrote that specifically because he hated that character.
Well, Robert Wool, did they shoot him dying? Because he was supposed to die in the Joker parade to the point that it's in the novelization.
Yeah.
And that like it feels very like I'm alive when he gets like thrown in the garbage can.
I feel like test audiences didn't like it that he died.
Because they love the wool.
I mean,
we want wool. We want wool.
What I will say is it would strike, I think, a very jarring note in the movie if he died. If the wacky reporter died.
Yes. And as he says in the commentary himself, he's like, well, good looking bow tie there. It's like, okay, Robert, I don't know about that. So let's get some choice. You should listen to it. You should listen to the podcast. But I want to just like, there's some stuff that like made me laugh out loud. Like the fact that the Jack Palance comes up, who's in Batman. Yeah. And the best part is that like, Jack Nicholson was so excited to meet him.
So yeah, the day before they start shooting the movie, and the Jack Palance scenes are the first things they shoot.
Yeah,
and Jack Palance is only in the movie. He's there for 3 days.
Yeah, the idea of Jack Nicholson at this point in time being excited to meet an actor is very funny.
Well, I've heard Tim Burton say that one of the reasons why they cast Jack Palance was he was the only person they could imagine being Jack Nicholson's boss, just in terms of screen presence. Yeah. And so everyone's lining up at the like pre-shooting party to meet Jack Palance.
Shake his hand, yeah.
And he's greeting them like the Queen, basically. Hello, 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 hello. Nicholson comes up. He's Jack Nicholson. Yeah. It's like, hello, 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 hello. Yeah. And Jack looks at Robert Wool and he goes, warm guy. But
can you imagine? And then Jack Nicholson goes, "Who are you again?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's Robert Wool. Don't you know me?
He does, I think, spill some pretty good tea. He says, so two things. He says that the credited costume designer hated Kim Basinger, insisted that a credit be added for like Ms. Basinger's costume supplied by, because there's a scene in the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know it. It's the early party scene where she's at the party and she's basically wearing a wedding dress.
Yeah.
The costume designer hated that wedding dress so much. He was like, I cannot be credited with this. Also, Robert Wool very pointedly says, they ask, what was Kim Basinger like? And he says, she was all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah. And the other thing I love is he was talking about how he always had weed. You know, so John Peters and Jack Nicholson wanted to hang out with him because he had weed. They were asking him like, well, how'd you get weed in London? And he says, well, a certain cast member, I won't name who it was, but said to me, listen, Robert, here's how you get some stuff in another country.
Oh, I remember what he says too. He's like, you mail a fan letter to yourself.
Yeah.
That way.
I love also that Jack is saying this because like, I'm not going to get busted.
Yeah, I'm Jack Nicholson.
But Robert Wool can get weed for me.
I mean, number one.
And probably weed, quote unquote.
Yeah,
There were probably some other
Cocaine.
substances.
Now imagine, Robert Wool is like, I didn't send this to myself. It was a fan letter. The cops are like, in jail. You have no fans. What are you talking about? Now, we may be, was there Woolmania going on?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But like,
I mean, he got Arliss.
yeah, so he was popular enough to, what are other Robert Wool vehicles?
Hollywood Nights.
Never heard of it.
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Oh, wait, he made a movie with Eric Idle, the title of which I'm forgetting.
I'm looking here at his filmography, known for Arliss, Batman, Bull Durham, Good Morning Vietnam.
Cobb. He's in Cobb. That's his other big movie.
Okay, so there you go. And now he just does TV stuff. He's in like an episode of Blue Bloods.
He goes to conventions.
Yep.
And if Robert Wool were here right now, I would probably
Shake his hand.
I would weep
Would you?
because I saw Batman so many times.
Now, I was shocked that there was not a Robert Wool action figure.
I know.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Like that they merchandise that out. There's a Bob the Goon action figure.
Another part of the commentary that I like is he was talking about the Prince songs, and he was saying how much Tim Burton didn't want to have the Prince songs.
Yeah.
And he said something like, I listened to that album not long ago, and they sample my voice in it, which had me wondering, shouldn't I be getting royalties?
He should, yeah.
But then he was like, I probably signed my life away.
What about that great piece? Have you seen the making of documentary that he hosts?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you
Where
have?
he's like walking the streets. He's
Yeah,
like,
it's like-
a reporter sees crazy things on the streets of Gotham.
And the way that happened is John Peters like, we gotta do a documentary. I don't know. And he's like, I don't know. I could host it. He's like, all right, we'll give you $40,000. Robert was like, okay, $50,000. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll take that. Biggest payday I ever made.
Yeah.
So anyway, Robert Wool's commentary on Hey, That's Me, the podcast, highly recommended.
Loved it.